Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Spectrum podcast. What's this, episode 12 now? Something.
267.
Sweet. We've been going for a really long time then, and I may not have been conscious for all of it. Today, Owen and I have a special guest, Dan Pearce, creator of 10 Second Ninja.
Woo!
Hello.
That game this weekend has been the bane of my life. I want you
Sorry.
to know that.
Good. You know what? I'm glad. I'm glad it is. That's what it's for.
Good.
People always say that. People always play it, and then they're like, "Man, this game's really hard." And I kind of want to be like, "If it wasn't really hard, this game would be so short."
It would be about 10 seconds long.
Well, that's the thing. We actually have because every Steam game has its own forum, and in our forum there's a thread called 400 Second Ninja? Question mark. And it's someone who just saw the amount of levels, saw that it was 10 seconds per level, and was like, well, clearly this game's like, how many minutes is that? It's like 4 minutes long or
False
something. No,
advertising.
it's like 5 minutes long, whatever. No, wait, 6 minutes, fuck it. Wait, am I allowed to swear on this?
All the time.
Good.
Constantly.
Yeah.
This is how
Fine.
professional I am.
Yeah,
When it
that's
comes
how
to
professional
swearing,
we are.
Yeah, when it comes to swearing, I shoot first and ask questions later.
But
Don't
yeah,
we all?
10 Second Ninja is irritatingly difficult, which is probably the main attraction of it. You probably played Super Meat Boy or something like that, right? And is there any other game that isn't Super Meat Boy that you can compare it to?
I guess Half Minute Hero, but that wasn't intentional.
Cool.
I only realized like the Super Meat Boy comparison and the Half Minute Hero comparison. People had to tell me that that's what the game reminded them of before it even clicked in my head that that was sort of what the game was similar to. For me, like my biggest inspirations were there are two games. Both on iOS. One called Stardash, which is by a very good developer called Orange Pixel, who makes very, very good stuff. And another game called League of Evil 2. And both of those games had these sort of like secondary objectives where you could finish their levels in a certain time limit and get sort of like an extra, like whatever. And you could finish these levels in like 15 seconds. And that was shorter than I thought any level should last, and I was like, I never thought about it before, but yeah, you can actually do quite a lot in a very small space of time. So I thought it would be interesting to see what it would be like to build a game around that being the core of it rather than this secondary thing. And yeah, that's
Nice.
why I made it.
Well, that sounds pretty fair to me. Especially as I don't know, time limits are a strange thing in games. I never used to like things like Mario, which had some kind of arbitrary time limit, but that was really long. So I don't know what was going on there. Maybe it was a points thing. Does anyone
I quite-
compete for points in Mario?
I don't know really. For me, the only game that it really appealed to me in where it was a secondary objective was like Crash Bandicoot. And even then, when you go for a good time in those games, you know exactly, like, in that run you're doing it for the time limit. You're not doing it as some secondary thing. You go back to a level, you collect a little clock, and then you're suddenly in the time trial mode.
Yeah.
And I think you need to have that focus because, I don't know, I don't think most players really go for the time stuff that much. I know Mirror's Edge had a time trial thing, but no one, I think a very small amount of people actually got into that. So yeah, making it the focus was quite important.
I have a really funny story about Crash Bandicoot. One of my brother-in-laws at the time gave me Crash Bandicoot because he couldn't complete it, and then I was about 7 at the time, and this guy was about 35, and he gave it to me, and I was able to complete it within a day, and he got really pissed off at me and never talked to me again. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason why my big sister and him fell out. So my family got torn apart because of Crash Bandicoot.
I love that.
Oh,
Like they had this
dear.
domestic
That's-
dispute where like they're throwing dishes at each other. It's like you can't even complete Crash Bandicoot. I'm so ashamed. What will I tell my friends?
My little brother is better than you. Who do you think you are?
He's just like, you're always comparing me to your little brother. Why?
That would be a bit weird.
Not in
That
like a
would be
weird
very
way.
straight.
Sorry, that sounded creepier than it was supposed to.
Yeah, just a bit.
Sorry, I dug us into a little
Oh,
rut
dear.
there.
If my big sister listens to these,
Oh,
don't
let's hope
take
not.
this anything seriously.
Yeah, and if
I
she
don't
is
think
listening,
you can
then
take anything we say.
yeah, if she is
Say
listening,
sorry, Dad.
yeah, I sincerely apologise that I wasn't implying what you probably think I was implying.
Good.
Although, what? Oh no, I won't delve into it.
Don't.
So video games we've been playing.
Yeah, those.
Have you, because 10 Second Ninja's been released now, have you had any spare time?
Yeah, I've had more spare time than I did
Cool.
before launch.
Yeah,
Like
obviously.
the first, well, no, the last 3 weeks up until launch, I swear to God, I can pretty much not remember. Like 90% of it, I have no memory of. It's really, really bizarre. But I do know that I didn't have much time to play games, whereas now I have a little bit more. So I've been playing Le Frosses, which there's been some controversy
Ah.
over recently.
Really?
and-
What is that controversy?
Uh,
I don't know.
It's a controversy that I am surprised it took this long to come up. I was going to bring it up, but then I decided that I wasn't the best person to do so. Well, no, A and B are the same point. Right, so I'm not the best person to do so, both because I'm not personally offended by that game, and also because I made the game with Nazi robot enemies. But the controversy is
Alright.
basically that it's kind of easy to read Lufraus's as a game where you play as a Nazi.
Yeah,
Oh.
I get that.
Because it was in the back of my mind when I was playing it, and then spoilers if you haven't destroyed the blimp yet, you kind of kill Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which makes it
That
pretty
was-
clear that that's yeah. And
Yeah, until that point, I wasn't sure whether you were the Nazis or they were the Nazis. Because I always associate blimps with Nazis. Not exclusively, but...
yeah, it's I see where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean there's a very good comic artist who does a lot of work with games called Elizabeth Simmons, who she says really really smart stuff, and she
And does comics about it as
exactly
well.
her comics are great. But she was saying like that she's Jewish, and it makes her really really super uncomfortable that the game sort of presents Nazis in a kind of heroic light, I guess.
Fun way.
Obviously, this wasn't something like Lambert didn't think that this is what they were saying with the game. Rami has since issued a very, very good apology where he was very understanding. And I think the controversy's sort of been resolved now. But yeah, it was quite a big thing yesterday.
I did see it. I saw a lot about it, but I think I got into it like way too late because I didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah, most of the
I saw
biggest
his
controversy.
apology.
Yeah, the biggest controversy seemed to be not about the whole apology in the discussion, because it was resolved pretty civilly and everyone seemed to be pretty cool about the whole thing. The main controversy came from a Polygon writer called Owen Good, saying that people choose to be offended, which is like,
God. That's what that was about. I wondered
Yeah.
whether that was... oh god, it was
sakes.
something else. But yeah, basically...
yeah,
I saw that Twitter feed conversation thing. I didn't even know who he was, but which probably makes me a really bad journalisty person to not know who people are. But basically, he was being an ass.
yeah, it was that ended up becoming the controversy instead of like what Lufraus's actually was, and justifiably so, because people don't choose to be offended, and it didn't help that It's
Yeah.
it's this gendered white guy saying this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like a whole thing. But the point
I'm
is,
gonna say that I liked it. I liked Lieutenant
I like
when I
LaFras's.
played
I've been
it.
playing quite a lot of it. I think it's a
Yeah,
fun game.
it's an ace game. It's a really, really good game. Uh, that brings a lot of context to the setting, though.
Yeah, it was something that I picked up on quite early on, just because. I mean, obviously, I've had a few people say similar things about 10 Second Ninja because you are fighting
Yeah.
Nazi robots.
N- yeah.
But I was expecting the controversy to blow up way sooner than it did. I trust Flambeer to be mature people, so, or at least mature in all the right ways.
When they have
Yeah.
to.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad the whole thing got resolved.
They just turned it around. But
They just shot the
Turned
people,
around.
obviously.
They walked away.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I'm glad it was all resolved because I like playing with Francis.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop.
So do
So,
I.
Nazi robots in 10 Second Ninja, obviously, you're not the Nazis, you're fighting
Yeah.
them. What was the main concern of people there?
I guess
Yeah.
the concern was that I was taking the events of World War II lightly, which I can
Oh,
understand.
okay.
What?
But here's the thing: the people who seem to have said that, and this is the other nice thing about Steam forums, is it says if someone owns the game, the people complaining about the representation of Nazis in 10 Second Ninja don't own the game.
Oh.
So they don't
Right.
see that, I mean, the game doesn't
Okay.
bring up Poland or any other people killed or even Germany, because that would be fucked up. That would be really, really horrible. That would be completely uncool. Because I don't think German people are Nazis. I
Yeah.
just don't. I studied German at school. I know a fair bit about that culture, and yeah,
Well, you do the Iron Sky thing and say the Nazis are from space.
well, yeah, I do that as well. But I know, I thought it was important to make it more like it's this really warped, detached version of Hitler. In that, like, Hitler doesn't even behave how Hitler actually behaved in the game. Hitler's
Yeah.
sort of just like a stand-in name for bad guy, and that's where the joke comes from.
Hmm.
So yeah, I know. The people who seem to own the game don't seem to be offended by it.
Okay.
So yeah, that
understand where
Well-
you come from.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it's a good thing to be aware of it, if nothing else. And
yeah, I know the controversies there. We haven't closed any threads. I know Valve closed 1 or 2 comment threads, because some people were baiting out like controversial discussion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We banned people who have made us uncomfortable with some of the things that they've said. Not in terms of like accusing us of being like Nazis or whatever. I mean the people who will join in the discussion and sound sort of like Nazi sympathizers. We block them because we
Mhm.
don't endorse that. But the people who own the game seem to be fine with it. It seems to be people, I don't know.
And I like
Yeah.
the old game too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
Cool.
it seems to have all been resolved. No one seems to be talking about that side of it anymore, and people seem to be like understand our perspective on it and why we did it. So yeah, that's all been resolved fine, and I'm glad it was the same for Lifrouses.
Yeah. Both good games, both good conversations. So, and it all seems to be very mature, apart from that one Polygon guy. But we'll ignore him because he's stupid. So yeah, you're off to PAX.
I am off to PAX. That's scary.
What are you most excited for? Going to America, meeting people, anything like that?
Well, there's quite a few people in America who haven't had a chance to meet yet, but I know through Twitter and stuff. So I'm looking forward to meeting
Okay.
them. I'm looking forward to making a few more contacts in the US because the game, it's been selling well in the US, but like we still need to. Like, it hasn't got a massive presence in the US. Castles in the Sky was sort of similar, where we had a very good community around it in the UK, but not so much in the US. So I'm looking forward to that and sort of starting some conversations in that way. But right now, I'm just playing a lot of it by ear. I haven't shown in the US before. I haven't been to the US before, so I'm not doing anything too crazy, just because I want to know how it works by default first. So then, if I go to the US again, I can be a bit more comfortable and do some weirder things. Like, I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to play anything. I don't know how many people I'm actually going to get to see. My main fear is that I'm so used to seeing American people on TV that I'm worried I'm going to associate them with like TV and film and stuff, and I'm just going to be starstruck by every American person I meet.
You're just going to pretend they're all in a sitcom.
But like, I'm genuinely terrified that someone's going to talk to me in an American accent. I'm just going to start giggling. I'm
God.
hoping I can counter
You're
it by talking in a British accent, and hopefully that'll impress them.
No, they'll just be like,
Are you
"Oh my
gonna-
god, I love your accent."
Good, because then we have
Say
that sort
things in your
of, we have this mutual thing together.
Are you going to go for really posh British person accent though? Are you going to go for that, or do you think it's going to be like an automatic thing? Because I did that once. I was talking to a California guy, and he had just the atypical kind of upspeak, if you know what that is, where they end every sentence
Yeah.
by going like this, and I just went into full toff just straight away, and I've no idea why.
I don't know, maybe. If it works, then I
Go
will.
Scouser on their ass. Go.
Yeah.
Right, Scouser.
I'll just change my British accent for each person.
Nut 'em.
I'm actually terrible
Say
at
you're
accents.
Scottish.
I'm terrible at accents though, so they'll just be like, is there something wrong with you, or?
Go through all the accents you can do in one sentence. Just be like,
Just
all
keep
the English
alternating.
accents.
That would just
Yeah.
be so confusing for them.
Yep.
And I'll just stick to my classic Southern British accent, and hopefully that'll be fine.
Fair enough.
What I think would be cool is if you met Jonathan Holmes, because he's one guy that I just like to buy him a drink and just go and just pick his brains, because he's so cool.
I really want to meet him, especially as he's interviewed a bunch of my friends, and I want to get on his radar. Because I love Sup Holmes. I really, really enjoy watching Sup Holmes. So it'd be cool if I could try and wiggle my way onto a spot on that.
Ooh.
We'll see how that goes though.
You're gonna have to do some despicable things.
We've all.
It's a dark, dark industry we work in.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Cool.
Owen, I missed
Hello.
you out entirely when we were talking about games we were playing.
Hello.
What have you been doing?
Well, apart from playing 10-second Ninja
Damn right.
and trying to get 3 stars on everything, because I can't. It just doesn't.
Which is a nightmare.
I think I might have completed the first two areas. Apart from that, I can't do anything else after that.
Fair enough.
God. Apart from that, I've been playing a game that got given to me at Res called Not GTA 5.
Ah, I've been meaning to play this.
I haven't even heard of it.
Yes, it's a game created by Not Games. They're not the charity organisation, but they create games for charity.
Oh, okay.
For
I think I've heard of them.
Peer Productions, that's the word. And
Okay.
all the profits go to charity that they create on the game, and it's all hand-drawn, and it's basically what you can imagine GTA 5 being like if it was in England. I'm kidding. But it's quite fun, and it takes so much. If you don't get offended by any of it, you'll be fine.
Oh, it's one of those games, is
Well,
it?
no,
Does it do a South Park?
It's more like if you're Welsh and go into the Welsh area,
Oh, I see.
you are probably, yeah, that's going to be fun for you.
Yeah,
You also get to play as David Cameron halfway through that. I'm going to tell you what happens
No.
there, but you know, things.
Interesting.
Yes, I've been playing that game, but it's a game trying to go through Greenlight at the moment, and I think just because it's like, I don't think it should have to go through Greenlight because all the profits go to charity. It's like non-profit It's just a funny game, really. It's just in early access at the moment. It's more of an alpha game. It's just a lot of fun, really.
Yeah.
It's just
I've been meaning to play it
funny game.
because the developers tweeted me the other day, and they've had it open in a Chrome tab for like quite a while.
Quite a while.
Also, I think you're quoted on their website, aren't you?
Am
I
I?
think so.
Woo!
But yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to
haven't
look that
looked.
up now. I want to see what
Wait,
you say.
Snowy's Gaming. Yeah, that's you.
me. What did
What's the
I say?
website?
The sound is pretty much near perfect.
Ah,
Sweet.
I don't remember saying that, but
Yeah.
you know, we'll go with it. We will go with
Yeah,
it.
I've been meaning to play it. I think I might download it and then check it out on the plane to PAX.
It's just a funny game. And apart from that, I've been playing FTL and losing quite a lot. But I've got better! You can safely
Yeah.
say I've got better at FTL.
Oh dear.
But because
Well,
they've got the new advanced thing.
yeah. I haven't actually managed to play any of that, but it's got some cool things going on in it, like hacking, and you can disable various bits of people's ships, which sounds pretty good. It's like
Mind control.
mind control.
That's
It sounds like it's a pretty expansive extension to what was already an ace game.
it is.
Nice.
That is someone trying to get through my
There you
door.
go.
I don't know what that was. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're like at the top of the page, just under PC Gamer. Or
Woo!
PC Gamer N. I
What
don't
did
know. What that
PC
is.
Gamer say?
They say, repeatedly smash David Cameron into a wall. The most satisfying game mechanic ever created.
Okay. So Josh, what have you been playing?
Oh, I've been playing the quest mode of Towerfall. Because after Rezzed,
We bought
despite
it.
being very tired, I bought it and we were going to play it
But-
together, but Snowy
got
had to
tired.
go home,
Why
which
had
is
to go
sad
home?
times. So I've just been playing it single player to get better. I
great.
didn't realise quite how difficult it'd be. It's got quite a high skill base level to actually not die a lot of the time. But there are some cool things you can do, and you just kind of find out how stuff works as you play, because the stages tend to be quite short. And it's one of those things where you pick up an item and you're like, I have no idea how this is going to get me killed this time, but let's find out what it does, and then you do die, and then you're like, I won't do that next time. Because things like, you have to realise that you can jump on people's heads, which I was just trying to shoot at people, and if you run out of arrows, you're kind of buggered. And not using the dash, like dodge roll thing properly is quite, there's quite an art to that. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it, even though it is just against waves of AI enemies. It's really cool. So yeah, that's good.
Cool. Yeah. Apart from that. Oh, I've been playing Biome as well. Biome.
Oh yeah.
Is that the low poly one? That
Yes,
was in the
Low poly-
one.
yeah in
At low poly world,
Sorry,
I
I was
think.
at Rez's left field section. That's actually kind of vague. The low poly indie game. No, that yeah, I saw that. That's really really cool. You have like the little sort of like island
Square.
with loads of stuff on it, and then you can like play around with it and modify how it works. I'm describing this game very very poorly. You go for it.
It is. It's kind of like a god kind of game where you change the world according to where you touch it, and there's like a hell world where lava comes up, and you touch it again, and there'll be like water and kind of ice and sand and stuff. That's about
Yeah,
as much
it's-
as I can say. They also
It's kind of in the name. It's
I also
like
found
different
out-
biomes.
Also found
Sorry.
out those guys also created a game that was for London Dare called XYZ. Do you
They made
remember
that?
They made that.
Dude,
was
I love
like-
that game.
I was
That's
like,
so good.
woo! I remember that game when they were like, "Oh, you know
Oh,
about
man.
it?" It was like, "Yeah."
Oh, I made a video on it. It's so good. It's like a spatial puzzle game where you get this like everything's flat, but there's a 3D shape that you can only you twist it and you see one side of it, and it creates a different pattern, and you have to fit the pattern to the shadow in the background, and then you go on to the next level, and there are different colors and shapes and things. That's a really awesome game.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where you're like, oh, I didn't know that. That makes my day brighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we have any news?
I was gonna ask you guys about Game Jam. Did you hear about the Polaris Game Jam thing that they were gonna make a video series out of? So they invited a load of game developers like the Arcane kids and Zoe Quinn and other people I can't remember the name of right now. I apologize. Yeah. And essentially, the original idea, which was, what's his name? Josh Mattingly came up with from Indie Static.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to just do a game jam, record video of it, so people could see what game development's like, and see like all these cool little games that people would make over a couple of days or so, and just do like a documentary style series of it.
Yeah.
But essentially, the people Maker brought in a secondary production. Hang on, there's an article on Indie Static about it.
Okay. I don't have
bring
any
that up.
idea what this is about.
Essentially, the gist of it is that it became blown out of any kind of proportion. They brought in a load of YouTubers to like set various challenges that weren't even related to game development, like physical challenges and all sorts of puzzles and BS like that. And they put YouTubers on the team, and eventually this one kind of, basically how he's described as a typical old media bloke who was brought in to kind of oversee how it all went and direct it. He just came in and was really sexist, which obviously pissed off all the devs, and they were being pushed around anyway because they had a load of sponsors like Mountain Dew, and they weren't allowed to drink anything else on set apart from maybe water, and everything had to be, labeled to camera, all that. That really, really pissed them off, and throughout the day they just got tired of it and eventually walked out because this guy asked if the other teams were at a disadvantage because they had pretty girls on them. And basically people flipped out and left, and yeah. So that was an unmitigated disaster.
Basically, if you can imagine every conceivable way you could make an indie dev want to walk out of a game jam.
They just made them really uncomfortable.
It's just like, well, I mean, it's horrible to read because, I mean, I feel bad enough because Zoe Quinn is... Firstly, she's very, very talented. She does really, really cool stuff. And she constantly has this sort of stuff thrown at her. So it's frustrating to see her go into a setting where she could do some really good stuff for representation and really good stuff to promote the indie scene, and then she just gets all this stuff thrown at her again by the people organising it. Davey Reedon, who worked on Stanley Parable, was asked... He was asked to remove his nail varnish because they weren't comfortable with him having nail varnish when he was holding like a Mountain Dew can.
That is stupid.
Yeah, there's so many of these things. They try to bait out Jontron to get in an argument with Zoe Quinn, which is ridiculous because like they suspected that they'd have a fight anyway. So it was just them constantly trying to bait out conflict in really, really petty, childish ways.
Yeah, they were trying to make it into a reality show. And unfortunately, both Jontron and Zoe were smart enough to just avoid it and just say, "No, I'm not doing this."
Because they had problems with I think they had problems with each other before the show. Like they even started shooting.
It was from a previous incident where I think Actually, I'm not going to say because I'm not entirely sure, so I don't want to say
Fair
anything
enough.
stupid. But um, basically, they weren't happy with each other because of a previous incident. Let's
Yeah.
say that.
And the show basically gave them a situation where they could have like pressed the big red button on each other.
Mm.
And thankfully neither of them did. So despite whether you like either of them, credit to them for not doing that. But
Yep.
yeah, it just sounded like a complete mess. And eventually they had to stop doing the whole thing. Like everyone involved just had to can it.
Yeah.
And what was it?
Everyone walked
The
off.
estimated
Or the devs
the
did.
estimated spend on it was something like $400,000. It's just
Yeah.
and that show could have done so well if they didn't just put all that really needless stuff in it. If it had just been a simple game jam thing, it would have been interesting. I mean,
I would have been all over it.
yeah, I know how people had
Yeah.
problems with it, but IGN's next game boss was sort of like that.
I remember that.
Um,
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind. They made a load of indie development teams kind of compete and make. At least they were making games.
Yeah.
But they competed over like what was it, Unreal licenses, and
Yeah.
those were the prizes. So it's kind of meh. It wasn't the best idea, but at least they were making games.
Yeah, and they were being rated on those games. It was
Yeah.
strictly focused on that, whereas this was.
Mhm.
I think they realized that for your average viewer watching on TV, game jams probably aren't that interesting.
Yeah, they're not.
There are things you can do to kind of spice it up. Just
There are, but it's
obviously the YouTubers were there for a reason.
but the actual process of compiling code and stuff isn't interesting.
Yeah, maybe not.
So which
but-
I get, but even then you could make it for a niche audience and it would work for that audience. You don't have to blow it up. You don't have to turn it into this massive thing.
Yeah, I mean, no content creator's stupid enough to just make video of someone coding at a
Yeah.
screen for an hour. There's
It's
there's
too
so many
specialised.
ways you can make that interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I could
focus
just
on the creative
imagine-
discussions.
Exactly.
I could just imagine this like an hour uncut version of this man just sat at his desk looking at
Yeah,
the screen.
2 hours and finally, okay, the guy can jump now.
Yeah, it's just so weird, and they could have fixed it
Yeah.
in so many ways. And I do believe there are people
Yeah.
who are interested in like how people make games, and I do think that there would have been an audience if they hadn't cluttered it up with all that other pointless crap.
Yeah. Well, Two-Player Productions do kind of documentary style things for
Yeah.
Double Fine while they're doing their Amnesia Fortnite game
did-
jam.
yeah,
That is so
And
interesting.
the way they do it as well is they know what's interesting to general viewers and they know what isn't.
Exactly.
Generally,
yeah.
if you just focus on the human side of it, that's far more
Yeah.
interesting because game developers are all kind of fucked up, and that's interesting to watch. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I know there were complaints when Indie Game the movie came out. When
I like
people,
that.
I love Indie Game the movie. I've literally seen it like
Yeah.
10 times. But people were saying like, oh, it's not actually about how you make games. It's like, cause have you ever watched someone try and make a game? It's really dull. The only people I know who can do that sort of successfully are Vlambeer. Because they,
Oh yeah, they've got lots of live streams
Yeah.
going on, don't they?
and even then,
Yeah.
people completely misunderstand the point. I watched Paul Veer do a live Twitch thing when he was doing some pixel art for Nuclear Throne, and he was trying to do a sprite for a screwdriver, and he got so frustrated because everyone would just end up telling him how to draw a screwdriver. It's like, it's Paul Veer, he knows what he's doing. Leave him alone. And he ended up just getting really
Okay.
frustrated. So it's not an easy thing to document. It's not like film where there's a lot of visible moving parts. Or at least in film, if there are visible moving parts, they're interesting. It's like, oh, I thought this was a rock wall in the background, but it's actually hollow and has wood behind it. Whereas in games, it's like, oh, this is broken, and this is broken, and this is also broken.
And until it's fixed, at which point it's less broken.
Yeah. It's just a bit. It's different. It's a different kind of world that you. if you're into it, if you're like us, you'd probably be interested to see how they made the game. But there's a lot of people out there that probably wouldn't really.
Thing is, there are common things that you can find relatable. The human element of people just interacting and working on something together
Yeah.
tends to be interesting, because you do get interesting drama out of that,
Mm-hmm.
without having to bait it out with needless sexism and stuff like that. But also, you have a bunch of really unique, weird, creative people in one room, and they're working together on teams. Seeing how their different processes clash would be interesting enough.
Yeah.
Like,
It would be so interesting. I want to see how Zoe and Davy interact with each other in a work environment. I want to see how their creative goals clash.
like
That's
Pendleton
really
Ward
interesting to me.
this year in the Double Fine thing. Pendleton Ward
Yeah.
there, who's just mad.
But that's really interesting. Like, figuring out how people like to work with each other and what complements each other and what doesn't. That's really interesting. That tells you a lot about the people, and that's really, really cool to watch. But of course, they squandered that because people, Maker seemed to think that their audience was too dumb for it.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because
And at the end of it,
usually you
everyone
can
wants to
trust
play
people with
games.
yeah.
So, I mean, why not make that the focus? Anyway, we've complained about this
Yes.
and I think everyone understands that it was really stupid. Hopefully, there will be some kind of good that comes out of it. Hopefully, there'll be some kind of
they are organising Rebel Jam.
yeah.
which
Is that
Maya / Felix Kramer is working on,
yeah.
and that sounds really, really cool, because I know a bunch of the people who are involved with it,
Mhm.
and I can't imagine a group of people who are more qualified to make this jam. So I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. That's something that we've got to keep an eye out on
Definitely.
and see what happens with it. So there's plenty of interesting games come out of Game Jams all the time, and I still haven't played the winners of the Cyberpunk Game Jam, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So Dan, plug all of your things,
All of them.
all of them.
2 hours
man.
later.
Right, so there's 10 Second Ninja, which is my platformer game that I released. I only realised this the other day. It's been out for a month now.
Whoa.
Oh wow.
It does not
Congrats.
feel like a month at all. But yeah, well, it's weird for me.
Flown by.
Because it was literally it was the 5th a few days ago. I'm very bad with time. But I sort of went to bed and was like, oh my god! It's been a whole month, because it just doesn't feel like that at all. But yeah, 10 Second Ninja's been out for a month. You can pick it up on Steam. You can follow me on Twitter to hear more about other things that I might be working on. I'm toying with some prototypes right now.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Exactly. So if you follow me at Game Design Dan, all one word. And also, if you're not into 10 Second Ninja, then you'll probably be into Castles in the Sky, a game I worked on as part of a team called the Tall Trees. We released that in, I think, October last year. It's since been nominated for a BAFTA and all kinds of cool things. You should probably check that out. It's just like a 10-minute game, sort of like a storybook. Pretty proud of it. It'd be neat if you checked it out. It's only £1. So yeah, I think that's all my things.
I liked it.
Good.
I can't think of any
I
other
liked
things.
Castle in the Sky.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll put links in the description so it's easy for everyone to find everything. And Snowy,
Hello.
where can we find your stuff?
On Twitter, Snowy's Gaming, and on my YouTube channel, Snowy's Gaming. You'd
Sweet.
never guess my name was Snowy's Gaming, would you?
And-
That's about as much as you could find.
And you're quoted on notgames.co.uk.
Yeah, notgames.co.uk.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I need.
Big celebrity.
Yeah.
Woo! Look at me in the high life. I'll come down next convention. I'll come with my pimps. And just be like,
What?
I have pimps.
Okay. Fair enough.
Wait, no, wouldn't you be the pimp?
Nope.
People trying to pimp you out.
Yep.
Okay.
Fair enough.
It's like your
If it were-
marketing team.
If it works. Okay, so thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Dan, for being our guest. It's been a really
No problem.
awesome time.
Definitely.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Awesome. We'll have to have you on again at some point.
Yes.
Mm.
So until next week, thank you everyone for watching the Indie Spectrum podcast, and we will see you next time.
Bye
Bye.
bye.